Yo guys, what's good? I'm Lime. I run like an OFM agency. You can find me on Instagram as LimeMellowBall. I'm just taking over this channel because the previous host can't really be here anymore. But let's get into it, alright? So, what this video is about starting your first like agency and if you really wanted to start or not. Because people like kind of see the space as easy money somehow, but there's actually a lot more going on inside of it other than easy money, as well as like it's kind of highly saturated. So I just want to just open up and just ask you guys like the pros and cons of the space and why you should be getting into this or not, right? The first part I want to talk about is that this is mostly a service-based business where you're providing a service to a customer. And by a service, I mean like making them money first of all, right? And making them like want to stay in this with you and like and accelerating your growth. That's kind of what I'm talking about as a service-based business. It's not where you can just kind of skill yourself into it and just like be super skillful and get money yourself unless you're doing AI. But if you're doing it with a real girl, then it's more of a service-based business. So it depends a lot on the clients and how you treat your clients, because what I want to say is that you have to be kind of a good person to treat your clients better and just make more money with them, right? But the pros of this is that once you have a good client and once you kind of figured out like everything that's going on in the space and what you can dominate in and what you can niche in, it's basically like free work where you're not basically working at all and you can just get the passive income and just become rich as fuck, right? That's kind of what the pros are. So you'll do well if you can read people well, as in treating people better, right? Being there when your client needs you, being there when like they want to fucking kill themselves, because we had some clients who were like that. Bailing out when something is not going your way. Like you like to move fast because you can grow an account super fast, you can make money super fast, but also Instagram can fucking ban your ass like super fast as well. And you're not really bothered by what you're doing. But you'll struggle if you want to see this as like, oh, free money from day one, because you kind of had to find the right person, right? You'll struggle if like you kind of don't want to be in the space. You should do something like crypto or like drop shipping, if that's like, it's probably better, to be honest with you. You're not gonna judge anyone because people are in this space for a reason. There's like there's a reason why people are doing this, right? And you can't really do a 50-50. You gotta take more. Honestly, right now it's like more like people are just fucking commoditizing this space where they're just taking like fucking 40% or 30% for themselves. So you kind of have to build around your really thin margins of that as well. So yeah, but I'm just gonna skip this part. It kind of makes no sense, right? I'm just gonna have you score yourself if you actually want to continue or not, because this is super important if you actually want to get into this. Is that, do you care about your clients' success? Because these are like real people you're working with, right? If they're not making money, you're not making money. So you actually have to like be in favor of them doing what they want. You can't really control like your client, because you can't trap them in the contract. You can't tell them do this, do that. But if they don't want to, right? Then you have to work around that. Do you have like a content or sales team to do this? It's not a sales team, like systems to do this. I mean, you can learn this along the way. It's not really a concern. Are you comfortable in this niche? Can you like just fucking research and just keep trial and error everything? And can you take rejection without quitting? As in, you get banned, you get fucked in the ass, and then would you still quit after that, right? That's why ban waves happen. Sorry, a little rant, but ban waves are kind of the single best thing to happen in this space, because the more ban waves happen, like the harsher ban waves get, the more people quit. And I've seen so many people quit because of ban waves. And the people who kind of stay in the space even after the ban waves, they're the most successful people. But going back to this, I'll explain this in the next like 2 sections, right? But the like the kind of two speedrun ways is that if you have time but no money, like by time I mean like you have a lot of time to work and grow and develop your skills. You can sign one creator, right? Move on to another one. If that doesn't work out, move on to another one, and then you build a relationship with people, and then just, like you learn along the way. But if you have money but not time, you can start like AI clipping. You can start like doing AI content for your girls, and you can start doing just fucking like um what's it called again? Like clipping for your girls. That's kind of what it means. But that's kind of a conversation for another day. So what is this space, right? OF is basically selling a relationship. You know the like Andrew Tate fanboys or like the BTS fanboys, fangirls. It's called a parasocial relationship where you defend someone, you have a personal connection with someone who doesn't even know you, right? If if like I were to diss Andrew Tate and the guy next to me was was like his biggest fan, he would defend Andrew Tate despite Andrew Tate not knowing the guy at all. That's called a parasocial relationship, and that's what this is. Because when a guy tries to go to an OF girl's like OnlyFans is like a messaging space, right? It's deceiving because you have a chatter talking instead of the girl, and that's when you build a parasocial relationship where the guy wants to provide his girl a better life by giving her money. It's not about selling the nudes, right? Even though at the end of the day, like your main goal is to sell nudes and have this guy like be happy. Your main goal is to have this guy build a relationship with a girl to where, um, to where he spends more and more money on her, thinking that he will get her out of this life she's living, but he's actually, in fact, talking to a chatter. That's kind of what this space is and what this is all about, and you have to make your content around that. So, first and foremost, is signing and finding the right person to work with, right? This is hardest part of the entire thing because there's gonna be a lot of people who don't want to do work, right? They don't see this as like work, even though you are the one working, right? You are the one who should provide for your own brand. You are the one who should stick around for yourself to actually see yourself succeed. People really don't see that for some reason, and that's like kind of the entire thing. I would recommend going to a friend or going to a recommendation of like someone who you know is hardworking, but they kind of don't want to go to school. That's kind of what I would find the right partner as. The next thing is producing the content. You are first of all like you are the agency, so you have to learn how to make good content first, right? And then second of all, you can put volume on that good content that you make. So what I would do, I just like find an avatar of a girl where avatar of a girl also fits in the right partner where avatar can be someone who works really hard. They're a petite Asian girl who likes to play games. That could be your one type of girl, and you have multiple types of those girls, and all of them make the same type of content that you perfected. That is basically determined to go viral because you tried to test it out like multiple times, and it can also bend with how like the trends are working, or it's kind of timeless where like Belle Delphine does like the thing and it works out even if like the content is super old. That's kind of what I mean by finding a good piece of content and finding a vertical that you can basically stick to and grow on above. The next thing I want to talk about is distribution and growth. This is kind of the complicated part where you have there's a lot of ways to scale your girls like vertically instead of like getting more girls and get more revenue, right? You can have clippers on her team. You can batch film her multiple times a week where she makes like enough content for the entire month times 4, and then you can just post like fucking 30 times a day for her over multiple different accounts, or 100 times a day for her over with clippers and AI. You can have AI content for her, like I said already, or you have your own AI girl. Just skip the finding the right partner part and just go straight to the AI girl. But your goal is to have her be like an advertisement to build to as many people as possible, right? And have those people be qualified clients for your parasocial relationship with the girl. Because when you find like a good piece of content, you have to make sure that it fits the people who would most likely relate to my girl or aspire to be with my girl, or like the neighbor next door, whatever you say. You know what I mean? That's kind of what it is. Next thing is monetization and chatting. To be honest with you, like if I'm being real, I'd probably just give this over to a real chatting agency. It's not worth the hassle. I'm not gonna go over this, bro. I don't know much about chatting. I'm just more of like the content side of parts of everything. And the next thing is managing the relationship with the girl, because this is honestly more of an uphill battle than a downhill battle, right? for a girl to start an OF, they had to risk their reputation, they had to risk their relationships with their parents, right? They had to risk their like friendships with their friends, and they had to be seen as a whore, right? Like there's no girl who you see except for Bonnie Blue who wants to be seen as a whore, because it doesn't work out like that. So what you have to do is, right, you have to like kind of help her, like be her therapist to get through all of this, because what's the point if what's the point of doing this if she wants to kill herself and the world hates her and her mom hates her, right? You got to be there for your girl. You got to be there for your client to basically support her and just help her out when there's no one there for her. Like, if you probably do this wrong, either first they just quit OF in general, or they can just like not work at all, they just have a mental breakdown. Or like if you're not close to your client who should be your friend, right? They're gonna probably leave you for a different agency. Also on the same coin, even if your client is a shitty person and they do leave you for leave you for a different agency, you can't really just be a bad person to them and to future clients, because like you would kind of have yourself as like a bad person, a bad reputation, if every client you go to, every client you've been with, they're all like, oh yeah, this person was a shitter, this person is like an asshole, I would never work with him. And then they tell all their friends, and those friends tell all the other friends, and then like the rep around you just reaches a bunch of people, and nobody wants to ever sign with you ever again, if it's gonna be like that. So what this isn't, right? Not to paint this bad, but it's not really a passive, like glamorous thing where you just post selfies and people will just sub to your OF for your tit pics, because those subs would probably just be there for like a minute and just leave and just haggle your chatters all the way down. You had to be a girl. You had to present your character as a girl, as an influencer who a guy can white knight her and save her from this OF world that she's living in. So if you just do this consistently over multiple like different girls who should be your friends, who clients should be your friends, so they won't leave you for a different agency after they learn how you do it for a lower percentage, then you should be good. Game is game, right? But yeah. So there's multiple skills behind each one. This is acquisition. It's just sales and judging people and building connections. Content is just marketing your girl, your systems behind how you make these content. Like you're making podcast content, you have to learn how to edit. If you're making like skit content, you have to learn how to be like the guy behind a camera, if that's the case. Or if you want to kind of give a script to her friend, you have to train that person how to do that. Or if you want to have like a VA make all the clips or whatever, then you have to learn that as well. Distribution is learning how to make connections with people on distributing your content, or just learning how to cloud code your way through this, you know. Monetization and chatting, bro, just get a fucking agency to do it for you. And managing a relationship is just like, just be there for her, you know. It's nothing without your client. You're not making money out of your client except for AI. But yeah. So what do people do? What do people I usually see do in the space right now in 2026 to make money? Everybody is more like scaling vertical, putting most of the effort into one girl, because it's better to focus on one girl who's making 300K a month rather than 30 girls making 10K a month, because you have so much more stress and so much more things to keep track of to keep that 10K a month for every girl. But if you have one girl, then you can learn how she does her thing so well that you can basically get another girl similar to her and make two girls have 300K per month, which is 600K per month, you know? Next thing is be content agency. It's not going to work out if you're not making good content. Next thing is that pick your platform carefully. Like, dude, my channel is about making organic content that does well on Instagram. So I'm just gonna talk to you guys about that, right? But there's black hat methods, there's Reddit, there's Facebook. Like, dude, it's all the same thing, you know. Next thing is compliance is a core skill. Everybody's getting banned on Instagram. So if you're not like up to date with like what gets banned, what doesn't get banned, and your girl gets banned, you're kind of cooked. Next thing is speed first in data. Start posting right away. Start making shit up and just make it work out. And then get the data back in, and then okay, I'll fix this, fix that, fix this, fix that, and then it works out better, you know. And the last thing is that your relationship with your girl matters the most. So yeah, so let's wrap it up, right? This is more of an emotional content based thing, but if you do this correctly, which I think it really is super easy to do, no matter what I said, the grass is always greener on the other side. There's so many things you see that might look easier than this, but if you have something that does work out well for you, it's genuinely the freest money you will ever make. I'm I'm like, dude, I'm living at my girl's right now, and I'm making fucking like 100K a month right now, like doing jack shit. It's so easy. But yeah, all right, guys, have a good day.